welcome back to the Jack and Bekah podcast. I'm Jack, and today we're actually not here with Bekah, but however, I am here with a special guest, Presley Mahanna, the director of AHS Drama's production of Radium Girls, and also a chemistry teacher?
Science in general
teacher at Abington High School. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes. So, let's get into it.
Yes.
So you are directing Radium Girls.
I am.
We are super excited about that. Give me a little bit of background of what that is and like what goes on in the show without spoiling anything.
Okay, no spoilers, spoiler free. So the Radium Girls is a true story about these factory workers, these female factory workers in the 1920s who worked in a radium factory before we knew that radium was dangerous. So it follows their journey about finding out that they're sick from radium and how they attempt to get compensation for their ailments from the radium.
Interesting.
Yes.
So with the show, would you say, are there any unique challenges with it being a more like historical play, like in the sense of like historical accuracy and things like that?
So I have read the book The Radium Girls this summer, which made me want to direct the play. So just making sure we are keeping accurate to the story. The play is pretty accurate in general, the written script, but making sure we're doing a nice job of portraying these characters in an appropriate way, because most of the characters in the show were real characters, which is very cool to be playing a real character for the actors that are.
So this is your first production directing at AHS.
Yes.
What made you so excited about directing?
Well, Miss Tomlin asked me to direct, and I had done costumes for both The Play That Goes Wrong and Carrie last year, so it felt like a new and exciting challenge that I was ready to take on, so I figured why not?
Yeah, are there any challenges with it that you anticipated, and there are any challenges that you did not anticipate?
I definitely knew that blocking was going to be a challenge, and blocking in the space was going to be a challenge because it was a new space for me to block in general. So I knew that was going to be a challenge. Casting the show was more challenging than I thought it was going to be. I didn't have like any expectations going in, but it ended up being like, especially like smaller roles were more challenging than I thought they were going to be.
Yeah. Can you address the rumors on precasting?
The rumors on precasting, no, we did not precast the show. I had really no expectations going into this.
That's exciting. So you like when you got auditions, it was like a blank slate?
Pretty much a blank slate, yeah.
That's super exciting.
Yeah, we did the show. We knew it's with female heavy cast, and just the nature of theater is there tends to be more females than males.
Yeah.
So that's about as much as precasting as we did. We knew like the crew we had could do it, but we had no idea who was going to go where. That's
so exciting. Mm-hmm. So this being your first time directing, there are so many things, but you're also doing costumes. Do you want to share a little bit insight about what goes into the costuming of a show in general, and then how it is specific now for Radium Girls?
Yeah, so costuming for a show in general starts with reading through the script and looking at the characters and a lot of what the characters represent. And specifically for Radium Girls, we have to play to the time period. So it takes place in the 1920s. So there is a challenge of utilizing clothes that look like they're from the 1920s without having access to clothes from the 1920s. So that was a big challenge. That was probably the biggest challenge with the show, because you want vintage clothing, but you want vintage 1920s, not like vintage 1950s or 60s. So that was the biggest challenge with the show. And there's a class difference between a lot of the characters. So a number of the characters are from a lower class, and a number of the characters are from a higher class. So it's getting like differences between those lower class and higher class characters and making sure that they look like they are lower class or they look like they're higher class.
Yeah. Where do we go to find these clothes? Because obviously we cannot pluck clothes out of the 1920s. What do you do? What's your process in finding clothes?
So we first looked in the stock that we had. We had a lot of stock over at the Frollo, and we actually pulled a number of things just from piling things up over the years. But I went to Savers a lot and just looked. I had like a vision board essentially of styles from the 1920s, and I just pulled from Savers.
Yeah.
It's cheap, so it's good to pull from.
Yeah. Well, this show is so exciting, and I think we haven't done anything like this in quite a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's just like definitely a unique perspective. Mm-hmm. Are there any like memories you've had so far in putting this together that have led you to be super excited about the show next week?
The first run through that we did made me really, really excited because we just get to see everything together. Another thing is when we started putting the walls up for the set, that's when things start coming together and
things feel real.
Things feel real, yeah. We're doing our first run in costume tonight.
Yes.
So I think that's going to make things like feel even more real.
Yeah. So you have a little bit of theater background.
I do.
Can you share with me a little bit of what that looks like?
Yeah. So I have been involved in theater since I was 7 years old. So I went to the Capcioni School of Performing Arts in East Bridgewater as an extracurriculum thing from second grade through my senior year of high school. And I was like fully on stage for that. I never did any like backstage work. And then I took a year off my freshman year of college, and then I got back into it sophomore, junior, and senior year. And I started doing some work with costumes then and started doing some background work then. I ended up directing my junior year, Heather's the Musical, shout out.
Fun.
It was super fun. But so I've done theater for as long as I can remember.
Do you have any messages to students or anyone out there who wants to pursue theater but is not sure how or is maybe unsure of themselves?
Ask questions and get involved. Theater is one of the most open and accepting spaces you can be in, and everyone will welcome you with open arms. I can guarantee that.
Yeah. I think what's so exciting about shows is that each show's culture is just completely different. We did Carrie last year. Mm-hmm. The cast was completely different. Like, what makes this cast so special?
I think we have a strong group of experienced performers in this cast, but we also have a group of students who is not as experienced that are getting to learn from these experienced performers, and it like makes for a nice like mesh of a cast.
Yeah.
And it's a really cool dynamic that we have here, because I can see a lot of kids learning from the leaders in the cast.
One of the most exciting parts of this program is that it's in a school, it's about learning. That's why we bring in different shows. We did Carrie last year, it's a very different type of musical. What is a cool new aspect that now these performers are now getting to learn? Because I know like comedies, we learn something completely different. Like what is so interesting about this from a performer's perspective?
I think like you said, we haven't done a historical show in a while. So we actually did a whole rehearsal where we just like learned the history of the Radium Girls. So learning a piece of history that you didn't get to learn in school because they don't talk about this it seemed like such a small issue, but it was such a big issue at the time. And getting to learn about that and then share their story with the community is so, so exciting because it is a true story. So now we're going to have a ton of people next week learning about this story.
Yeah. So if someone wants to watch this show, are there any like adult mature themes anyone should be aware of? Family friendly, things like that?
I would say it is more of a mature production. It's definitely not for children.
Geared towards kids,
Yeah, it's more geared towards adults. There are mature themes. It does deal with death and mortality and these characters learning about their own mortality. So I would say it's not so much family friendly, but I would say a mature 10-year-old can probably handle the show.
Yeah. I think it's also the beauty of the piece is the way it addresses mortality, and like you see these girls suffering, and I think it's just done very nicely.
Yeah, mortality is a big theme in the show.
So if people want to watch the show, where can they watch it? How can they get tickets? When is it? Give us all the details.
All right, so it opens Thursday, the 16th. Super exciting, which is a
Yes.
week from today. And it runs Thursday the 16th and Friday the 17th at 7 p.m. Tickets will be sold at the door. $8 general admission, a little cheaper for students and seniors. I believe it's $5 for students and seniors. But we 7 or 7:30.
Awesome. We'll put it on the screen.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Awesome.
But it'll be in the Abington High School auditorium, and we're super excited.
I'm so excited. Excited that Radium Girls is going to be added to the AHS's Hall of Fame of shows. It's very exciting. But do you have any final thoughts to share with us?
Come see Radium Girls.
Yes.
It's going to make you think.
Awesome. Well, I'm so excited. I think those are some of the best shows. Well, thank you so much for watching. This has been the Jack and Bekah podcast with Presley Mahanna. We are so excited about Radium Girls, the 16th and the 17th. And thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and follow Abington Cam for more information on the Radium Girls. Thank you.